fans as well.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's how I'm
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there's those two.
So people, again, welcome to the 401.
Welcome to the 401.
401, 100%. And then, yes, go on.
Yeah, so welcome to the 401. Today we're joined by Monica Holton, founder of DATTIES Soul Foods, and also LOVINGSPIRE, Entrepreneur of the Year. As you can see, there's an award on the table. So Monica, just tell us about how it all started, where you started, you know, what all the ideas that you came up with, DATTIES and LOVINGSPIRE. Just
Okay,
give it us.
Right, okay, thank you first of all for having me, gentlemen.
Appreciate
It is, I feel honoured to be here.
It's a pleasure, 100%.
Thank you, Stefan. Where did it all start? Where did it really all start? My gosh, I've got to say at the age of probably 4 or 5,
Alright, okay.
in the kitchen on Uxbridge Street, in my childhood home on Uxbridge Street, with my father cooking fried dumplings, and me wandering into the kitchen and going, what are you doing, Dad? Because one minute I'm looking at flour, next minute I'm looking at fried dumplings smothered in butter, and I'm like,
And that smell,
oh my, Stefan, that smell, and my magical, and the way my dad used to knead his flour as well, and the way he used to just get all, listen, I was fascinated from then, and that's where it all started, so yeah. And the good thing about my parents is they didn't run me from the kitchen. I was like, I want to go, It's like, alright, go on.
They want to teach you, like,
Yeah, they were really, they were really kind like that, but I was probably a little bit pushy as a child. So my siblings tell me, father's always wanting to know this, that and the other. So yeah, that's where it all started, the passion.
So it sounds like you had a really good family unit, really good upbringing, and, you know, a lot of love and a lot of food. And
yeah, a lot of love, big family, there's 10 of us.
Wow.
It's a little tiny house on Uxbridge Street, you know, there's 10 of us, so the house is always full. Gran came over to live with us in '86, so mum, dad, gran, my sisters, brothers, then all the grandchildren, the nephew, the nieces, all the church people, the neighbours.
100%, you lived in the middle of Oxford Street.
We lived in the middle.
We was like, kind of like the back end, if you like. And obviously, I remember you from childhood. And seeing now obviously how you progressed and whatnot, and it's a beauty in itself. And we all stuck together, if you like, back then, didn't we?
We did.
It was a different time, wasn't it? It was a different time.
Beautiful time, wasn't it?
It was a beautiful time. I remember down Oxford Street them times. It wasn't rough, was it? It was quite enclosed, wasn't it? It was an impact of people, and like everyone was like friendly and stuff like that. There was never nothing like
no colour. It was about colour.
I mean, back then you think it'd be worse, but now it's worse than ever, isn't it? I mean, like, back then it was just beautiful.
It was.
I loved growing up around there. Oxford Street, Oak Street. I loved that area. I thought it was brilliant.
We loved it. Napier Street obviously was the back of us, so when we went out our backyard, there was a tiny little wall, and we'd like climb over the wall just to go to Napier Street. We would walk round. We needed to go to Napier Street.
We could get from Oxford Street to Clarence Street, couldn't we? Straight through your back garden. You know what I mean? You can't do that now, can you?
No, you wouldn't dare. You wouldn't dare.
And our olders, they started it first, clearly, didn't they?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So we've got to take our hat off to them, 100%, because they started this journey, didn't they?
They did. They very much did. Missed them so much, but just the best childhood, and everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody, and it really was right. If you was doing anything out of order, expect one of the elders or somebody on the street to be telling your mum or telling you to get home or watching out for you, which probably wasn't nice for us at the time. But looking back now, you didn't just have your mum and your dad, it was everybody in the community. You were brought up by a community.
And you know, with the cooking process of it, it's got a lot to do with it, hasn't it? It's got a lot to do with the love and everything and the cooking. And
when my, sorry to interrupt you, when my parents passed, I know that the cooking, I mean, even now, 40 odd years, I mean, I was 52 yesterday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But even now, every single dish I cook has a memory.
Yeah.
Every time I get in the kitchen, I mean, Mum, bless her, she's been past 7 years now, Dad, 19 years.
Wow.
But every time I've done that, obviously I've bought gifts for you today. I couldn't come without bringing you food.
You see people.
Yeah.
I might them give some.
I think he's got first dabs on the one, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be trying them in a bit. Check this out. We'll be trying them in a bit.
But yeah, my mum's speciality, for instance, or one of my mum's speciality cooking was fish. So if we knew that,
Fried fish.
Yeah, fried fish, scavenged fish, saltfish fritters. If she knew the grandchildren was coming around, it'd be like, fried some fritters, you know. And I've done them today for you with some ackee and saltfish and fried plantain. And I'm in the kitchen tonight, and it just amazes me that it just takes me right back. So I'm in Uxbridge Street. I might be in my house now, but in my head and my heart, I'm round the cooker. I'm cooking the fried fritters, and I can see my mum. I can feel her. I can smell her. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I'll never stop cooking. Never.
Brilliant. So you started probably cooking as a bit of a for the family and stuff like that. As a bit of heartbreak. When did you think that you could start making a bit of business out of it?
Transition.
Like, when did it turn from a hobby to like
The
a business?
2012.
2012.
I'd done 12 years at the YMCA as the housing support manager.
Right. Okay.
So I started in '99. Spent 12 fantastic years and worked my way up to housing manager. Mum got poorly, prognosis wasn't good. There was a lot happening at the time in my personal life, to be honest, guys. And I just, I was pregnant at 40 with my sixth son. And, working in the community in that environment, it's hard work. I was doing 8 hours plus on call, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, being called out to the youth clubs, not to the youth clubs, to the housing projects. We had 3 housing projects, still got 3 housing projects, I think. So it had taken its toll by then,
But uplifting at the same time as well.
Absolutely.
Because it takes you down. Obviously, you're going through certain things in your life, but when you see like you're helping certain people, that's like a massive, it's a massive boost.
Well, Stefan, I was thinking about that before coming, and it's a thing like this. When you start working in the community and your eyes are open to the poverty, to the crisis, to what's happening behind closed doors, it can never close again. Once you've been exposed to that, it's like it runs through your veins. You can never shut that door again, no matter what's happening in your life. So 2012, I left the YMCA, absolutely so emotional at that time. I remember crying for weeks. Because this, as far as I was concerned, this was a job I was going to do until I died. Retirement, this was my career, and I built the role up, I got a lot of respect from my family, from my peers, from the community. As a black woman working in that environment, meeting with MPs and borough council, all of that. And so it was a sad time. And I remember my brother Cliff saying to me, "Mom, not one day of that 12 years is going to be wasted." And it didn't mean nothing to me at the time. I was like, "Thanks, bro, thanks." You know what I mean? It's not going to stop me crying. But he was right. He was so right.
Was there ever a time when you thought, you know what, I can't do this? For the people out there, because obviously we all got passions and we all know what we want to do, but sometimes you think, you know what, I can't do it. Not so much I can't do this, but it's like I can't do it. I can't do it.
I know. It was.
But then it's like, no, I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to dig deep. You have to dig deep. And when people become. When you start to love a community and people become dependent. I mean, I was working with primarily 16 to 18-year-olds who were homeless, so care leavers, people had been abused. There was all sorts happening. Drugs was very rife at that time. A lot of cocaine. I had young people like cutting their wrists, threatening to kill themselves. In fact, there were two young people that sadly took their own lives while I was there in that period of time. So there were real deep issues.
You see some things in it.
Yeah, saw some things, saw some horrific things in those 12 years. But I also saw, young people transition and change, and I saw a massive shift in their attitudes and their mindsets. And what kept me going in them times, Stefan, when it's like, what am I doing here? This is way beyond me. You know, I have to mention my faith kept me going. My belief in human spirit and belief in people's ability to change if you give them the opportunity, if you give them the resources, if you believe in them.
They need that, and they just want to, sometimes they need a arm around the shoulder, don't they?
100%.
I mean, sometimes people need especially kids, need to be shouted at. Sometimes they need the arm around the shoulder.
Someone's got the back sometimes.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
So I saw that as my role, and it never felt like a job. Never did. Not one day felt like a job.
They both enjoyed it every day.
Yeah, it was like it was a new challenge every day, but I just knew I had to be there at that time in my life. I just knew that was the place and that it would possibly lead on.
You've got to take the path, don't you, to get to where you want to go. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, 100%.
So Love Inspire Foundation. So where's that name come from as well?
Love Inspire. To be honest, Love Inspire Foundation was the family music business. So at the time, obviously you know the Dunbars, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a sound system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because that's where I heard it first.
100%. Yeah, that's where it's from. Love Inspire Music.
Yeah.
That's where it come from. Okay. So we sat around, you know, as a family, and it was like, let's talk about a music business. A little bit before we spoke about, catering. And it was Love Inspire Music, but spelt slightly differently. And together we came up with that name as a family. So the Love Inspire Foundation was just all embracing of what we believed in, what I believed in, love,
kind of tying it
and
all
to inspire. You know, I'm a person that always loved people, always saw the best in people, no matter where. In fact, I have to say, I am more drawn to people who have got past and have given up on themselves, who society has given up on. I am more drawn to them than probably any other people or human being, because they've got resilience, they've got grit, you know, they've got a story to tell, coming from far, you know, they're deep, and for them to be able to turn their life around by somebody just saying, look, I believe in you. You know what I mean? You've got something in you. What makes you? What's that thing that's going to make you want to get up? What have you got to the world? Why are you here? What have you got to offer? Show me who you are. And just pointing them a little bit in a little bit of direction, or giving them resources, whether that's art or music or football, sports, just saying, look, you want to get there? Here's an opportunity.
Because I 100%, sorry to cut you there, because I find that they've got more, not so much more, but that, like you say, they've got a lot of resilience, and you don't, clearly it's blatant that they need help, but then you see obviously the people that are working 9 to 5 and like go work every day, blah, they've got cars, a mortgage, and they're paying the bills, and you don't see that from them clearly because they're not on the street and not begging and they're not needy, but it's like we're all in the same boat.
We are.
Do you know what I mean? It's just them that's just pretty much obviously less fortunate. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or visually less fortunate. Visually.
Yeah, because
but we're all kind of like.
We are. It's funny you say that, Stefan, because
do you know what I mean? It's kind of
over the last 3 years, I've seen more and more 9 to 5ers come to us, come to the charity for help, you know, and on the face of it, they're doing their thing, you know, they've got a car, got mortgage, they're living life, they're living the best life, but are they? Because what we're seeing in the charity at the moment is people come to us, look, you know, need a food parcel, need gas and electric, can't pay my mortgage, at risk of homelessness. Like, some of them have got 2 jobs, still cannot afford, and it's not that they've got luxuries to get rid of your car, they need a car for work. You know, I can't get rid of my car, how do I get to work?
Got bills,
you know, I've got children, I've got multiple things to do. It ain't all about, well, you've got Sky and you've got a full package on Sky to do, and you smoke and you drink and you go out. You know, because people are allowed to live. We should be allowed to live.
Of course. You should have to live live your life to just pay everything, should you? You know, you should live your life to enjoy your life as well.
Absolutely.
Of course you do. I mean, what's the point if not?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, you want to go on holiday and stuff like that. Everyone wants to do that. But why shouldn't you? You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. And this is the thing. We tend to normalise the fact that we shouldn't enjoy life. You know, we shouldn't have them things.
That one laugh that we've got,
Exactly.
and it is one.
Come on.
Let me say it, Ricky Gervais, there's no sequel. There's no sequel to this.
No life too.
Yeah, it's just the one. So it's like
So
living and eating well.
Yes.
And eating good.
Of course.
And experiencing.
So wristbands as well. We've got wristbands here. Look, Lover Inspire wristbands. Just want to show you that. That Monica's kindly brought around.
So we've got the merch.
Yeah, you got the merchandise.
And what's this award here? Right
tell us
here.
about your award.
Wow, gosh, yeah, the
Zoom in
award
on that. Zoom in on that.
Entrepreneur of the Year. Yeah, April the 3rd. I got nominated. I belong to a women's business networking group called LoveBiz. And I joined them about 5 years ago because what I realised is that I was quite isolated when I was in the charity. Not really anybody to talk to about what I was going through, you know, a lot of confidentiality. You couldn't really talk to me about people's cases. And I found over the years that I really struggle in asking people for help. You know what I mean? I'd rather struggle.
You help a lot of people.
Struggle with asking people for help in any capacity of my life. You know, and I still struggle with it.
I feel so humbled. I feel so humbled when you actually do get help.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that emotion, that factor.
Honestly,
I've got that.
Somebody actually wants to help.
You've got that as well.
Honestly. And it's not even just like a stubborn thing or a proud thing. It's just like
such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you want to help me?
Yeah,
Really? You give up your time for something that I believe in?
It's nice, but it's
so it's a struggle. But I learned over the years, and I really want to say this today, is if you have got a dream and you feel it's bigger than you, and most big dreams are, ask for help.
Right.
And that's what I did. I reached out, I was invited to this group, and there are over 500 members in that group. And I've been going, and it's just like, you can imagine 500 entrepreneurs, 500 women in business from all different kinds of areas. In different areas. So we've got Burton Base, Derby, Loughborough, up and down the country. So Sue Crooks, big shout out to you, Sue. She's the founder, and she franchised her business. So she's got different people, ambassadors up and down the country running it. So each year they have an award for the women. They have a load of categories. And it's the women within the business networking group that nominate each other. So I got nominated, and the nominations came through in an email. I was like, oh my God, somebody's nominated me for entrepreneur. And that was humbling in itself. But then to go on and get to the finals, have the interview and win. Wow.
So what's the interview then? What was that about? Was that intense? Was it an intense thing?
Well, very intense. There's 3 finalists, 3 very worthy finalists, right? So you're up against it now. That's because it was all eyes on you. Oh gosh. And because it's a business award as well, entrepreneur is the biggest accolade you can get really when you're in business. So I was like, if I'm honest with you, I've never said this before. I was kind of like, I got to the final, it's cool, man, it's cool, I'm alright, I've got to the finals.
Tell everyone to calm down, calm down.
Give it to somebody else, I'm alright now. But they had the interview, and there's like the founder, Sue, somebody, a previous winner of the Entrepreneur Award, and then there's other judges, so there's a judging panel. And then and because of COVID and that, they had to do it online, so they ask you, and you don't know what they're going to ask you. So they ask about your business, and they ask you about the journey. They ask you, I think one particular question was about resilience, and I had to give them an example of how I've been resilient in my journey up till now, circumstances. That was emotional.
One, 2 tears,
Yeah, 1, 2 tears.
You have to hold it back,
I kind of couldn't hold it back, because it was so real. You know, it was real because not a lot of people know this about me because I don't really talk about it. But there's been some dark times, you know. There's been some times, I ain't gonna lie, I've stood on side of street or side of main street and thought, You know what I mean? I'm not even sure if I'm going to step out when this lorry comes around the corner, when this bus comes around the corner. Wow. There's been some really dark moments in my life, you know? But yeah, so that's what came out in that interview. My voice is crackling now as a result. And then the realisation came to me once I'd done the interview, before I even won the award, of the journey. And I started, a little voice said in my head, like, you know, it's like, start to embrace it now. Yeah. You've put in the work.
Yeah. Start to enjoy it.
Start to enjoy it. Which took a lot for me to do. It took over 20 odd years of working, pushing myself. And then I got to the words at St George's Park. And I got in there, and when they announced it, then all 3 finalists stood up. And I stood up, and I have to tell you that there was a woman here representing another charity that I hadn't seen for 26 years. I was in a set of circumstances in my life where I had to leave Burton for a bit, without going into detail. And when I left Burton, I met this woman. And I'd not seen this woman for 20 odd years, and here she was, sat in this award ceremony as a guest. As a guest. She went up. Listen.
That's the universe.
And I'm like looking at this woman, I was like, she doesn't know me, and she doesn't know I know her. Nobody in this room knows I know this woman.
And that was no coincidence.
No coincidence. Did not know.
There is no coincidence.
Because she wasn't supposed to be representing the charity. She wasn't even supposed to be represented. She came because the other person had COVID or was poorly. So when all of us stood up and they said, and the winner is Monica HOLTON! Wow. Well, my knees started knocking. I couldn't move.
I was just about to say, your leg shaking.
Honestly, I couldn't move. I just broke down. And I went up because I don't believe in coincidences.
No,
you know, I'm a woman of faith. And so I knew I had to tell the story a little bit more in depth, and I had to give her props and thank her for the thing that she did for me 26 years ago.
She was dumbfounded by that moment.
She was like,
but then she actually,
that was emotional time.
Yeah, that was emotional. That was emotional.
I'm thinking about getting emotional just thinking about it.
You know, and that really then came home to me. That, like 26 years ago, I was in that place.
And now I'm in this place.
And now I'm here.
And she's there.
And she's there.
And that was a moment for her as well at the same time.
Yeah, I went down and we hugged, we embraced each other, we were talking, and I just said, wow, imagine this is what you get. Just don't give up.
People, you listen to this because this is it.
I'm even forgetting the cameras on.
This is the person that you need to look up to because
it's real talk.
This is real talk.
It's real talk.
Yeah.
So.
And when you do good, it comes back in the universe.
Blessings,
do you know what I mean? It comes back in the universe.
It does.
It sorts it. I love the That's your signature dish.
Yeah.
Make becomes good.
Listen, do you not see that's happening in Burton now?
100%.
Do you not see the shit?
You're feeling it. You feel it. It just keeps hitting you in your face. It's just.
I'm sitting at home. I'm by the way getting ready to retire. I always said I'd retire at 55, right?
Are you still doing that? Is that still your goal to retire at 55?
Yeah. To retire from the work, the level of work that I'm working at now, because I'm still working at like 80 hours between two businesses really, between the charity and the food. So you got to get to a point where you have to like wind down a little bit. You have to slow down physically. I've got a lot of grandchildren.
I was going to say, there's no I can take that for.
Not even so much that, but I want to spend some quality time with them. I want to be present, you know? So when I'm looking back and I'm looking at social media and seeing young people coming up and exactly what you just said there, people, one life touching another life, you guys are seeing a need, and early days, I couldn't really see that within the community. Too tough, you know? I couldn't really see it. I was out here, I was like, ain't nobody know what's going on out here. Where's the help? But now, I don't know if it's lockdown or there's just been a shift in Burton. And I'm just seeing so many people rising up, whether that's in having their own businesses, starting podcasts, reaching out, you know, telling their stories, starting charities. I'm like, yes!
It is kind of popping
Honestly, good things
we've got to keep
good
at it.
things, 100%.
So what I wanted to touch on as well is obviously, like you said, you help out a lot of people less fortunate, clearly you do. And I'm good friends with this woman as well that you helped out. Obviously she got kicked out of a house.
Yeah.
And then you helped her pretty much get into new accommodation.
Okay.
And the uniform exchange.
Yeah.
Because when she told me about that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, because I know a lot of parents.
I know, I've done it.
A lot of parents.
2 uniforms
year after year after year after year, you have to fork out for.
You got the logos as well. Got the logos.
100%. So she was like, what I did with Monica, basically all my old uniforms, gave them to her, and I don't know where you put them.
Yeah, we gift them or distribute them to people who then want them or send them abroad.
And then pretty much give them a new set of uniforms, like free of charge, if you like.
Yeah,
that's what I mean, like that is.
That's what we do, you know. As a small charity, I mean, we've had lottery funded, but not huge amounts of lottery funded, and not specific. It wasn't earmarked for uniform. So we really rely on the public really and businesses. Because I'm a businesswoman, I always approach big corporates and businesses to say, right, what are you doing? You know, or to help your community. Because I think consumers should be very aware of how they're spending their hard-earned money. Where's your pound going? Where's your money going? You know, and if you're spending, if you're buying whatever, I'm not going to name any brands or anything, but if you're constantly using your money in this business, then we should have a responsibility to say to that business, what are you giving back? You know, where's your corporate social responsibility? Because everybody should have a policy now. You know, we live in a time where they have to be giving back. It's not just like some that they do. Take. Everybody should have social community responsibility. So I turned to them, and businesses in Burton are very generous, and they will. I mean, Pirelli gave us over £1,000 worth of slow cookers during COVID, so people could like cook through the winter. Help with gas and electric, which is a charity we do as well, help with gas and electric. So lots of businesses over the years has helped us. But you touched on school uniform, and that's how the LOVINGSPIRE Foundation started. 2015, I'm in Burton Market, I'm cooking, family comes up to me, don't know them from Adam, don't know who referred them to me, and they said, hello, we've just moved to Burton, we've got 5 children, got to start school in a couple of weeks, got no uniform, got no money, got no recourse to public funds. We ain't got our papers come through yet.
And they don't know certain avenues to go down.
Yeah, they didn't know. They're new to Burton, probably a bit of language barrier as well. So I'm there now. I'm like, I've left community work. I'm like, bless you.
Not anymore.
I was not going to turn you away, but I'll refer you to somebody else because I'm now running Daddy Soul Food in the market. But you know what it is? I looked in the mother's eyes. I looked in the mother's eyes, and I seen a need, and I seen a language there, and that sort of just ignited something in me right there. Mum had passed on 2 weeks before that, and my mum's spirit was very much with me, and she's like, you know you've got to help them, right, Mum? And so what I said is, I just joined social media, and I said, I'm not in that line of work anymore, I'm not in that sector, but I'll put a little post on social media, see what comes. Well, did that. 3-4 weeks later, I had nearly 400 items of school uniform come through the market. So much I had to ask the market manager to open the unit next door to put all this uniform in.
You know what that reminds me of? Shawshank Redemption. When he writes some letters. I'm not sure you've seen that film when he writes some letters.
Rather one of his name from that.
Just keep
is that one with, is it Morgan Freeman, is it?
Yeah, Morgan Freeman, as well.
I love that film. So yeah, we helped that family. We went on, and I thought, hang on, if one family's struggling, I know that I struggled when the kids were at school. I wonder if any more struggling. And so I reached out. You know, you still have the contact for another 12 years that I've done.
Yeah, go on.
Saltfish fritters. That's saltfish fritters, Atkins saltfish, and fried plantain.
It's tight.
And they cook fresh because that is our signature, really.
An hour ago, yeah.
Fresh, it's gotta be.
It's like yeah, I love it.
Freshly cooked.
Oh, jeez. So what? The smell. The smell. I wish the camera could like actually smell as well. Oh no, I've got the camera. You know what? I've only tried that once as well. You know.
You've only tried ackee and saltfish once.
I probably tried it as a kid. Right. But I can't remember.
Right. So, because traditionally, we have that Christmas morning.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That's our Christmas. Where probably British people have gathered. Yeah. Christmas morning breakfast. Ackee and saltfish. You know, a little bit of callaloo, fried dumpling, hard or bread. I ain't got no harder bread.
Who's eating?
So yeah.
A little taste. Yeah.
So while you're dishing out, I'll tell you about seasoned, shall I?
Yeah, tell you about seasoned. No, 100%.
So seasoned, okay, that's been an unexpected. That's not something I set out to do.
Yeah.
During lockdown, I mentioned the Love Biz. I have to give a shout out to Curvy Convo. Shout out to Liv Pitt and all the ladies. Curvy Convo is another ladies. It's not a business network group. It's a network. It's a group for curvy ladies, basically. And it was created and put together by Olivia Pitt. She is a life coach. Shout out to her. She's my coach too. And during lockdown, we did. Obviously, there was a lot of people doing online.
Yeah.
And she asked me to do a live feed, a cooking session on Zoom. Yeah, and I'm like, oh gosh. And at the time I was doing some cooking sessions with my grandchildren, teaching them how to do fried dumpling on Zoom during the summer holidays when we was all on lockdown. And I did the cooking classes, and Dattie's Soul Food then became Dattie's Soul Food Academy.
Oh yeah, we've seen that obviously on social media.
Because I realised I love teaching people how to cook. Love teaching people, probably more than anything now. I absolutely love teaching people how to cook good, authentic Caribbean food. My sons were also cooking at home during lockdown because they couldn't.
I bet they're brilliant now. I bet their wives and their girlfriends are absolutely buzzing.
They can all cook. I will say that they can all cook. But as you know, Steph, we don't measure anything.
Oh.
So when I'm telling them about recipes and when they're trying to cook at home,
measure by eye.
Yeah. So what I did is just because I was being mother, right? I said, look, I tell you what, I'll put a blend together and I'll give it you. You guys try it. And then you don't have to worry about what to put in, this to put in. What I didn't realise is that I had acquired a skill over 40 odd years.
Spoke about this in the week.
Yeah, I didn't know that over the length of time that I'd been cooking from a child, I developed a skill of being able to put Jamaican seasoning together so that you don't need any other seasoning. I just say that again.
Yeah, say that again.
Tell them again.
So that you don't need any other seasoning.
Yeah, for real.
Because any Jamaican family or person that cooks Jamaican food will know. You open your cupboard, you know you're getting shelves and shelves, bags and bags of seasoning, everything. And so by doing that and creating this all-purpose seasoning, I wanted and sought to create something where you wouldn't have to have a little bit this, a little bit that, a little bit this.
Everything
You could just put this on your chicken and make brown stew chicken.
Oh, give me some. Give me some. Because you've gone into so many households that, like you said, you've got shelves and shelves. Just seasoning.
How's that really?
Just go by the way.
You started already, like, I told you.
I was like, how are you going to talk to me in English? So yeah, that was the original all-purpose. My husband was having to test these all the way through lockdown. I mean, this was
what a lucky man! What a lucky man!
This was a long process, and I'd be like putting the blends together. I thought, oh, taste this, taste this. And my son was at home, and I'd get him to blind smell it. I was like, what does this smell like? Leek, and it's like, that smells like brown stew chicken, Mum. I was like, yes. And then the next process was finding somebody to manufacture them.
Yes, that's the.
Yeah.
Well, these are on the shelves, aren't they? Now?
These are on the shelves in every pack store in Burton. So any pack Continental, Napier Street, Waterloo Street, Anglesey Road, Waterloo, Derby Road, any of the pack stores in Burton you can go. So first came the all-purpose, and then obviously curry goat, curried mutton. The curry goat and the curried mutton. That blend came next. So again, that's all you need to cook your mutton or your curry goats. Is the curried blend there, yeah.
You got the jerk hot.
And then came the mild, the jerk mild, and the jerk hot.
Jerk mild.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So yeah, and they're flying off the shelves. We've been to pack today to stock up again, and it just gives me so much joy. And I'd like to say for anybody who's bought these, thank you and God bless you. Seriously, you're supporting the small business.
And they're saying the same back to you, and they're saying like, thank you. So how much do these cost on the shelves?
Well, the little samples, we sort of just use these when we're on like an exhibition. These are retailing at $3.99 in the supermarkets at the moment, $3.99 in packed stores. But again, once people would think $3.99 for a packet of seasoning, you have to imagine and you have to realise you don't need any other seasoning. You know what I mean? You don't need any other seasoning, so you're actually saving money by buying a pack because it's easier.
If you buy 3 or 4 seasons, it's a lot more.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to be trying it.
And I'm just hoping no one knows where I live right now. Yes. All bets are off. But oh my gosh,
it's been absolute.
Really, no, it really is. It really is.
Good. So I teach people all over the country now. Tomorrow morning I've got an online session with a guy from Liverpool who's booked a block session with me because he wants to open his own restaurant.
You can actually moving forward.
This is the levels now, I've been there, had 2 eateries, done all the catering, probably fed over 5,000-6,000 people over 10 years doing different events.
That's a massive difference.
Yeah, when I looked back at sort of, accounts and events I've done, and you get your 300 events, your 500 events, your 100 events, and your pop-ups and your pubs, and I think, that's a whole heap of people we've fed,
You don't realise, You're just doing your work and you're grinding.
And the boys have put in the work. My boys have had to help us from when they're little, and I'm talking like shifts sort of like starting at 5 and ending at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And did you take the convincing?
No, I didn't even get paid. I gotta be honest, we were building a business as well. So we couldn't afford to pay them. So, they really have put in the work. My husband right now, he does all the logistics and behind the scenes. So whilst I might be the face of the business, again, coming back to asking for help, it's bigger than just me.
Everyone's involved in it.
Honestly.
You can't build a business without a team.
You need people. You need the team, 100%, And it's harder to manage because then you're managing their expectations, they're managing yours, but it's worth it because you can't do it on your own.
And when it's family, it's all coming from a humble place. There's no backstabbers.
No.
He's doing this or she's doing that. Trying to get better than you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everyone's pulling.
Everyone's
Can I ask you for your sessions?
Yes.
For your cook session, how much are they?
They're £49.50.
Okay, so what do you get with that then?
You get a 2-hour session online, so we're on Zoom or whatever platform you want to use. Step by step. So for this particular client, if you like, I don't like to call them client, but we call them seasoned cooks now. That's what we call it. Seasoned cooks. For this particular cook, I know he wants to open ultimately his own Caribbean business in Liverpool. So I'm just really humbled that, I was like, how did you find me from Liverpool? It's like, I just Googled Jamaican cooking classes and you came up. I was like, okay, cool, it's working there. And we just had a conversation. He is explaining to me what's going to be on his menu, and he's got a good sort of understanding of Jamaican food. He knows you've got to know good Jamaican food to be able to cook good Jamaican food. Do you understand what I mean? You can't just be going in blind like, I think this tastes okay.
What colour is this guy?
I don't even know. I don't even know what colour. I've not asked him.
Yeah.
He knows his food. You know, he wants to put oxtail. He wants to do a different fusion of like jerk with rum, Ray nephew. And he's got some ideas, but he wants to do traditional and he wants to create some new dishes. So we're going to start from the basics. You know what I mean? Rice and peas. You've got to be able to get your rice and peas right. You know.
How
are you with your rice?
I'm still buying that packet of rice.
No.
Well, the reason why I asked that.
Where's the cooker?
But the reason why I asked that is a lot of
rice has always been one I can't.
Yeah, we'll sort that. We're gonna sort that.
A lot of people pretty much trying Caribbean food this day and age. Do you know what I mean? You know, before it was just like black people eating Caribbean food. Now, a lot of, especially, you know, like with the soup kitchens.
Yeah.
Because obviously we covered that podcast.
Yes, you did. It was brilliant.
The amount of versatile people that eat it and like, oh my gosh.
Was you surprised how many people eat Jamaican food? It is the fastest growing. This was part of the interview and the research that I did for that.
A lot of people still haven't tried it.
A lot of people. When I do pop-ups, it's like, this is my first time trying Jamaican food. I'm like, what? You be getting everything.
100%. Because they eat Indian, they eat Chinese, and all that kind of stuff.
Years.
Do you know what I mean? They've not even delved into that. So that's the market in itself.
It's a market.
You know what I mean?
When I did my research and spoke to a couple of corporates, it's like they obviously do their checks and their trends because hospitality is all about what's trending next.
Okay.
And I was told by a few sources really that Jamaican food is the fastest growing food trend in the UK.
It has to be.
You know? So after 10 years of cooking, I was like, yes. You know, I'd like to think I played a little part.
I would say a big part.
Modest and all that.
A little part in, you know, representing obviously people like Levi Roots, you know, Rusty Lee, all those pioneers who have represented over the years, and Stefan, our parents. We've been here for 60 years, you know. 60 years. How you mean that Jamaican food just coming through? Hey, but you know, it's coming through. Better late than never. Better late than never. Nothing happened before its time.
Save the best till last.
To be fair, it's coming through in a day and age where the market's massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Coming where it had to come.
Good point.
It's coming where it had to come. Back then, the market weren't as big as it is now. Food now, so it's probably coming at the right time.
It's true because I've seen over the years the shift in our customer base, and people say to me like, you know, who's your target audience? You know, who buys your food? And I says everybody and anybody, but there's been a prominent sort of age group and audience who have consistently bought Jamaican food from day dot, and that is young men between the ages of, I'd say, 18 and 45. You know, I have a lot more percentages. Percentage wise, I've probably got more, we'd say about 70%, 70 over 30 of men, young men who buy the food, you know, who understand the culture, have got some link to Jamaican food through either through family, through partner, through girlfriend, through friends, through music, through football. There's some there. There's a need there to want to have the food. And of course, it's healthy. It's healthy because it's not like, you know, you get your fried chicken and your that, but we're talking about you know, majority is, a lot of it's vegan. You know, the yam, the pumpkin, you know, our sweet potato. There's a lot of okra, chocho. I was gonna bring a whole bag of hard food in.
Once you try it for the first time, there's no going back.
No,
is there?
No.
There's no going back.
I mean, I honestly eat it all the time. Honestly, without eating anything else. Honestly, I'm not even lying.
I know.
It's true.
I want to ask you a question. Right? It's not. Would you come back, right?
Yeah.
On the show and give us a cookery lesson?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We need this.
Give us a cookery lesson. Come back on the show,
right? You reckon?
Right, Stefan's kitchen, and give us a good cookery lesson.
Stefan's kitchen. I would love
to. Just straight cookery.
I would love to because I can't believe you can't do rice and peas. You gotta sort that. Not even the rice and peas, forget the peas, just get the white rice salted.
Not now on rice and peas.
This is what, let me cook this.
No, on a serious note.
100%.
Yeah, on a serious,
because we eat the food from our parents.
You know, I'm bantering with you.
Yeah, it's not bad enough.
Or if you're not got your parents around or your grandparents, more than likely. A lot of this generation, it's the grandparents who used to cook off. If they're sadly passed on or they're getting too frail to cook now, who is going to teach them how to cook the food? How are they going to know how to cook the food?
100%.
You know, they're not eating the food, they're not cooking the food. And with Jamaican food, I suppose like most things, if you stop doing it, you know what I mean? It's one of those skills then you kind of like lose it. It does, because you can't remember like, oh yeah, what am I putting this again? What goes with that again? So I cook daily, every day. You know? So to me, you know, these dishes I've cooked now, that was an hour. You know, an hour just.
Hour.
But it's because I've been doing it all the time.
Richard's looking at that, aren't you?
I know, he's deprived. The cameraman has been deprived of this food.
Bless you. But yeah, it's very important for me to make sure that our culture food does not die. Very, to the point where massive. I get teary about that, because kind of in a selfish way, when I, God's willing, get to 70, 80, if the people around me can't cook, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? You know, who's going to cook a little soup?
That's a fair point, because you mentioned obviously parents passing away and whatnot. Not so much yours, but if youth don't know how to cook, and even if they've got their parents around, they still don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they're just expecting to get it like every day.
And also it's a good thing.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a good thing to keep you off the streets as well.
Yeah.
It's, you know, like to have some to cook and to have, you know what I mean? Sorry to interrupt you, but to have something
it's a skill, and it brings people together. Food is very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you stories over the years when I've served people that a lot of people would probably be very scared of these people. You know, people both in Burton and out of Burton have got reputation on street, and when they come to our store, and I'm 100% saying this, it's just the humility and the blessing in feeding somebody. You know, because a lot of love goes into our food. A lot of love goes into our food, and I think people can feel the love as well. I can't really explain it.
You can. Once you try it, once you taste it, you can feel it.
Yeah, and I've fed people who have, like, you can see the eye contact and their aura just for that moment just softens a little bit. They can be whoever they want to be. They can be themselves just in that moment. Just in that moment. And then, all right, you know, I'm back now. I've got to be this person now until the next time. And I don't obviously tell people that. You guys getting a lot of experiences of me tonight.
I'm a bit biased, but that's the best food I've ever tasted.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's the best food, seriously.
Yeah,
it really is.
Very special.
It really is.
Very special. Food, you know.
My food.
Finally enough.
I knew it was going to happen. So seasoned, big things ahead. Can't really disclose much more about the season at this point.
We wouldn't.
And just watch this space around about October time. You know what I mean? Got some big things in the pipeline. I'll just mention the name corporates and leave it there.
Right.
So, join us.
While we're on the subject.
Okay, yeah.
While we're on the subject, we've got some food.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
You better choose which one you want then.
Hold on.
They've been fighting now. I've got
When it was your birthday yesterday.
Oh, come on, you have not.
When it was your birthday yesterday. So this was for your birthday, but also now it's for all this work that you do within the community and the love that you share, the love that you put in your food. So we just like to give you this. So.
Oh my God.
We'll pass it back to you.
Thank you.
Twin effect.
God bless you.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You really deserve it.
you see. I don't drink, but I do like a bit of rosé.
Happy birthday anyway, and thank you for all the goodness you do in the community.
Thank you so much.
No, you deserve it. Seriously, you do. Honestly, you do.
Thank you, guys.
I mean,
wow. Oh my word.
So yeah, go on, Steph. You want to finish it off then?
Yeah. So again, I just say the proof is in the pudding. And yeah, join us for the next podcast where we will get to learn to cook rice the correct way.
Might take an hour podcast. We'll get that.
But yeah, no. Most importantly, it's a serious note with all the topics that we kind of addressed today. So just think about one another clearly,
100%.
and just give love. Give love, because that's what it's all about. And if you give love, like with the universe, it's always gonna work itself out, come back round, and give you it back in tenfold. So yeah.
Well said. Well said.
401, over and out. Love you.
Thank you very much.
Bless you, darling. Thank you.
This is the 401. Thank you, guys.
Peace
Over and
out.
out. Peace out.